Welcome to Mind, Body, Health, and Politics. I'm your host, Dr. Richard Miller. The mission of Mind, Body, Health, and Politics is to expand consciousness, stimulate thought, enhance mental and physical health, and encourage community. Today, we're going to have a very educational and exciting interview with Dr. Julie Holland, who's coming to us all the way from New York City. And we're going to be interviewing Julie on her latest book, Moody Bitches, the truth about the drugs you're taking, the sleep you're missing, the sex you're not having, and what's really making you crazy. So stay tuned for this great interview with Dr. Julie Holland. By the way, I want to remind you that this is the same Julie Holland who wrote the book on ecstasy, MDMA. She also wrote the pot book, and she also wrote a bestseller about her experiences at Bellevue Hospital in New York. By the way, that Bellevue book was a national bestseller. It was called 9 Years on the Night Shift at the Psych ER. That's an exciting book for those of you who are interested in the inside of major hospitals and cities. I grew up within walking distance, very short walking distance of Bellevue myself, and it's quite an institution. I'd like to interview her on that book sometime in the future. So stay tuned for Moody Bitches with Dr. Julie Holland. But first, a few news and notes in psychology and medicine. Now, from all over the world, we're getting research on the positive effects of exercise. I mean, it's coming in fast and furious from absolutely everywhere. Here's one. An hour or two a week of slow jogging may extend your life significantly, found a study in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology. This was a large study with tens of thousands of people. Of course, the key word in the sentence, as is the key word in so many sentences in the scientific literature here, is may extend your life. The key word is may. When you say that, hear that word may, it means it may, but it also may not. So you can't be certain. However, the evidence is coming in that some kind of exercise is definitely beneficial for all of us. Here's another one. High-impact exercise can improve knee cartilage. Now, my knees are just damaged all over the place from various activities, including a terrible motorcycle accident. And we've been taught, take it easy on your knees, take it easy on the cartilage, especially when they've been damaged. Listen to this. Postmenopausal women with mild knee arthritis, we don't know how mild, can benefit and even slow disease progression with high-impact loading, jumping exercises, along with a rapid change in movement. This is sort of saying, do more and let the body build up in resistance to it. So maybe you want to take a chance and do that or keep moving. Here's another one. Exercise to combat arthritis pain. Staying inactive if you have arthritis will result in loss of mobility and muscle strength, leading to increased pain and fatigue. Here's another one. Fitness in midlife is cancer preventive. Men who maintain a high level of fitness throughout midlife have about 1/3 less risk of dying from certain cancers after 65 than less fit. Well, all these studies are coming in and they're basically saying the same thing, which is keep moving in some way. You don't have to become a marathon runner. You don't have to be running as fast as you possibly can. In fact, there's more and more evidence that just taking a nice, easy jog or a walk, but to keep doing it on a daily basis. How often? Probably 4 or 5 times a week. I mean, look, we eat every day. We sleep every day. We hopefully have sex every day. But what about exercise every day? How many of us do that? Well, think it over, folks, because no matter which research you read and where you're coming from, there isn't really much to argue about when someone says, or some scientist says, or some study says, hey, smoking cessation, a healthy and balanced diet, regular exercise, maintaining proper body weight cannot be overlooked. I mean, isn't that what our grandmothers all taught us? Maybe. I mean, how much do we have to have that drilled into our heads? But getting down to doing it, you know, there's theory and there's practice. Getting down to doing it is really the key, isn't it? I did an interesting thing this week that I want to share with you. I took a patient to the gym and I gave him a 25-pound barbell. And I said, hey, hold this in your two hands in front of you. And he did. And I said, you know, just walk around the gym carrying this 25-pound weight with you. And he did it for about 10 or 15 minutes. And I said, you're 40 pounds overweight. You're carrying more than that barbell. That's what it feels like to your body to carry that thing around. Now picture for a moment a little tube inside your body that carries something that we call blood, which has in it oxygen, which is what we need for energy. Imagine pushing down on that tube with a 25-pound weight. Imagine taking your garden hose and stepping on it with a 25-pound weight. Can you see what I'm getting at here, folks? This weight is pushing in on us, and it's dangerous. So if you want to have a little fun sometime, either go to a bowling alley and pick up a bowling ball, or go to your local gym and pick up a 25-pound weight and see what it's like carrying it around, and then you'll know perhaps a little bit more experientially about what it's like for your body. So I guess that's the wrap once more on exercise. I hope I'm not boring you all too much with these constant reminders about the importance of keeping moving, but it is essential for health, and that's why we do it, and that's why I'm going to take up time from time to time with this topic. But again, remember Grandma's basics, very basic, aren't they? Exercise and sleep and proper nutrition, and gosh, we've been hearing that all our lives, and yet 70% of us are overweight or obese, and 40 million, or 35 million of us are still smoking cigarettes. What is that saying? What is that saying? Maybe if I have a few moments, I'll ask Dr. Julie Holland today about what are we really saying by being so overweight? I mean, what is that saying about us as a people? Are we all that depressed? Are we all that unhappy? Are we all, what are we? And who are we? Who are we that in the year 2030, if our statisticians are correct, in the year 2030, 87% of the United States will be obese or overweight? Wow. Well, enough of me on that subject. Let's get on to Dr. Julie Holland and Moody Bitches. Just by way of background, Julie Holland wrote the Ecstasy book, the complete guide, a comprehensive look at the risks and benefits of MDMA. You've heard on this program, I interviewed Dr. Phil Wolfson a few times, who's doing the MDMA study in Marin County right now. You've heard Dr. Rick Doblin on this program talk about MDMA. Many of you have heard me talk about it in terms of its psychotherapeutic benefits back when it was legal before our suppressive government and oppressive government made it illegal. Oh, I get so upset just even saying that. What do I say here? That we have a government that for 55 or 60 years has suppressed scientific research? What is that about? And who are we as a people that we allow our government to suppress scientific research? This isn't Russia. It's the United States of America, folks. Julie Holland also wrote the Pot Book, A Complete Guide to Cannabis. What a courageous person she is. You know, it's not that easy to write these kind of books and be a professional, because even the professionals have been brainwashed negatively about science. Or if not brainwashed, afraid. All afraid of getting fired, afraid of not making associate professor, of not getting promoted, because you're doing something that the government doesn't want done, which is research. My gosh, I better stop this. You'll get tired of hearing me rant like this. Weekends at Bellevue, she wrote, and now Moody Bitches. Moody Bitches, the truth about the drugs you're taking, the sleep you're missing, the sex you're not having, and what's really making you crazy. Welcome to Mind, Body, Health, and Politics, Julie.
Thanks for having me, Dr. Miller.
Richard, please, or I'll be calling you Dr. Holland all hour long. After writing this scientific book, The Ecstasy, and the Pot book, and then your wonderful book, Weekends at Bellevue, 9 Years on the Night Shift at the Psych ER, what led you? We're going to do broad strokes first and then get into details.
Okay.
What led you to write this book, Moody Bitches?
Well, I was just seeing this trend getting worse and worse where, 20 years ago when I was a psychiatrist, if I had a woman come to my office, she was really sick and didn't know what was going on, and I had to really hold her hand and destigmatize the process of taking psychiatric medications, and she really needed them. But 10, 15 years down the road, I had people coming to me who didn't have very significant symptoms and just basically wanted to know which medicine they should be on because they had seen all the ads for the different antidepressants. Could I explain the difference between Effexor and Wellbutrin? Their friends were on things. Their Pilates instructor was on something else. They were getting a lot of information and advice about which medicine they should take without really looking at whether they were genuinely sick or whether it was that their environment was sick and their response to their environment was sick. I mean, there's, the way that we are living our lives is making us feel terrible. And the answer is not to sweep the dirt under the carpet and mask the symptoms by taking something that makes you feel good. The answer is to change the way you're living your life and, take that carpet out back and beat the heck out of it and sweep your whole floor. So it's, I just started seeing this sort of a new normal almost, where more and more women were getting on psychiatric medications and it's antidepressants, anti-anxiety meds, but then also antipsychotics started being used for antidepression. And I started Big Pharma advertising more to women. I mean, they've always targeted women, but it seemed like it was getting worse. And I felt like I had to say something. I feel like I need to turn this ship around, and it's a big ship. It's not going to go quickly. But I felt like I need to, start to join the parade or lead the parade against everybody just being medicated so that they don't know what's going on. They become oblivious to how they're living and how their world is changing.
So I said we're going to go from, big broad strokes down to the details of your book. What's the biggest takeaway that you would like from this book for a woman who reads this book or a woman who has daughters and wants to pass the book on? What's the biggest takeaway, the one big thing you'd like them to take away from this?
Well, it's this idea of natural mood, that women are naturally cyclical and dynamic. If you're not taking oral contraceptives, if you're not taking antidepressants, it's normal to have times in the month where you feel great and times in the month where you feel lousy and you're more irritable and you're more sensitive. And that's natural. And the further away we get from nature and for what's natural for us as social primates, the sicker we're going to get. The book is really about returning to nature and like literally go outside, get some sun, move your body, and get in your body. All of us are spending a lot of time sitting. We're on our phones, we're on our computers, we're in our cars. Just being in your body and moving your body and being outside with the grass and trees, that will make you feel better. You don't necessarily need to keep taking pills every day and continuing living in a way that's very unnatural for you.
Yeah, there actually is some scientific evidence now indicating that being out in nature is in and of itself healing. And I know that there are people who are now experimenting with actually laying on the ground.
Right.
If you've heard about that, right?
Yeah, there's something called grounding. I mean,
that's right.
I talk quite a bit. I mean, this is an evidence-based book. There's about 40 pages of notes and just hundreds and hundreds of citations. It's a very research-heavy book, but it's entertaining and easy to read. But I definitely go into the research and the studies behind why exercise is good for you, why being in nature is good for you, why being in sunshine is good for you, and also why just being naturally cyclical. What are the advantages of being moody? That it really, for women, it's one of our biggest assets, that we have got this intuition and empathy and emotional expression, and we can read other people's emotions. And if you mute all of that, if you mute the sensitivity, you miss out on a lot of information.
You're